Good evening, Nashville, Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, those of you as far west as Jackson, those of you as far east as McMinnville. Welcome to Pharmacist on Call with your host, Dr. Sean Pruitt. And if you're watching this show, I am your community pharmacist. Everyone, welcome to the November edition of Pharmacist on Call. This is your 1-hour forum where you get to call in with those questions that you've had. Your doctors and your pharmacists have been busy, and so you haven't had an opportunity to talk to them. But guess what? For this 1 hour, I've got you. I'm the community pharmacist of the world. I know that your doctors and your pharmacists are busy and they don't have time, but guess what? For this 1 hour, I do. This program is sponsored by Pruitt's Discount Pharmacy, pharmacy choice for the uninsured. This is our 1 hour community service to you. All right, so as we typically do, we want to start out with some birthday shout outs, condolences, and what have you. First, we want to send a happy birthday shout outs to Pastor Chris Hall, who is one of my technicians, probably one of my longest serving active employees. He's been with us about 8 or 9 years now. So, Pastor Hall, happy birthday to you. Also, a big happy birthday to my line brother, Richard Nealon Ray, up there in Clarksville, Tennessee, and Eric Stevens in, I guess he's in Dayton, Ohio. And to my lady friend, Belinda, happy birthday to you, too. She's got a birthday coming up. So, all you Scorpios out there, happy birthday. Sagittarius, I believe, as well. All right, so it looks like we don't have any condolences to send out. Though I did want to mention the family of rapper Takeoff, who was tragically killed a couple of days ago. So did want to send condolences out to his family. Looks like we've got Founders Day coming up for the Men of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, which is why you see me decked out the way that I am. So happy Founders Day to the Bros coming up on November 17th. Rubras. And it looks like that is all we have for right now. I did want to start a discussion, of course, about my supplements, and the tie-in is going to be, hey, it's cold flu season. So we want to make sure that we are adequately prepared and have the things that we need to prepare our bodies for the onslaught of 3 different things. First, we have COVID-19 lingering around. Secondly, we have respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, which has really been tough with the children lately. And then, of course, it's flu season, influenza season, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty bad season, starting out pretty tough. So we want to make sure that our body has what it needs in order to prepare for it, okay? So the first thing that you'll make sure that you want to do, and just like in COVID, it's kind of common sense things. Make sure you're not walking into anybody coughing. Make sure you're constantly washing your hands when you touch foreign objects, because you can't catch it that way, and just pretty much don't be in too close of a breathing space of anyone. In terms of what you can take, vitamin C is always going to be great. So we want to do about 500 to 1,500 milligrams a day of vitamin C, which really helps to boost your immune system function. Vitamin D, during this season, I would really recommend about 5,000 international units daily, especially because we are not going to get as much sunlight as we normally would. During the summer, you could do 1,000 or 2,000 and still get some vitamin D from the sun, because you'll be kind of exposed to it. But as we get less daylight out there, we're really going to want to boost our vitamin D, because it is the engine of our immune system. It is important in antibody production. It is important in us toning down the bad parts of our immune system that we don't want to work, like the inflammatory process, and for all you science nerds out there, your cytokines and TNF-alpha and all that. But that's part of the reason that I put it in Dr. Pruitt's potion, because I wanted to make sure we had something that would really stimulate the immune system, but control the good part and keep the bad part of the immune system we don't working at bay. In addition to vitamin C and D, I would have to recommend Dr. Pruitt's potion, simply for the fact that it's going to kind of cover it will prepare your body to deal with all 3 viral onslaughts. So it'll prepare you to deal with influenza, it'll prepare you to deal with RSV, and certainly COVID has a good track record of feeding the immune system what it needs, so that the immune system can handle what's being thrown at it. Another supplement that I would mention out there is NAC, which is N-acetylcysteine. I would recommend that with a potion, probably 600 milligrams twice a day while you're sick, once a day probably if you're just trying to prevent anything. So there's a fair amount of data out there that suggests that it can help you with all with all three. So that, in addition to the potion, and I think you've got pretty much everything that you're going to need to deal with the cold flu season. Again, those common sense measures. All right, so let's start talking about some of this other stuff. Now, sometimes we don't always get to the other supplements, so I want to cover those first. Beetroot juice is a favorite with you guys. I'm sure that somebody's going to ask a question about it, and so we'll get to it later. We want to talk about some of the other things that don't get as much airplay. Right around holiday season, I know that many of you want to lose weight. And so we have a product here called Garcinia cambogia. This product comes from the tamarind fruit, which is kind of like a pumpkin type fruit in Southeast Asia. And what it does is it helps you lose weight. So how does it do that, Dr. Pruitt? It does it by a few different mechanisms. First of all, it shuts down the appetite, so you're not desiring to eat as much as you used to. The other piece is it has a mild antidepressant effect, and so it picks up your mood, and so that takes away the inclination to binge eat because you're sad. Especially during the holiday season, you may miss a loved one, and they're not here anymore, and so you kind of tend to binge eat to make yourself feel better. This will take away that craving to do so by pushing up your serotonin. And so anyone who takes Prozac, fluoxetine, Zoloft, which is sertraline, works in the same mechanism. So I kind of tell you guys kind of steer away from it, or take it once every other day, because you can't get headaches from it since you're already getting a serotonin push. The third thing that it does is it blocks an enzyme called citrate lyase. What citrate lyase does is it takes the body and it takes the fat and the carbs that you ate that day, and it turns it into fat overnight while you sleep. So Garcinia cambogia blocks that process, and so you're able to lose weight. It's high in fiber, and so you just number two that stuff on out. So this is really good. I've taken it myself several years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, and dropped a ton of weight on it. Like I said, I'm a nice sized guy. I can eat a whole pizza, but when I was on this stuff, I could only knock off about 2 slices at the most. So this does very well in conjunction with a good diet. Don't think that you can just eat whatever you want and then still lose weight. So good diet, and you don't even have to exercise really, but you do need to drink, an adequate amount of water. Keep yourself hydrated. So Garcinia cambogia for weight loss. The other thing in terms of a holiday season you're going to do is get a good cleanse going. And so that's why I recommend my product CKLS, which is short for colon, kidney, liver, spleen. And what CKLS does, it's a 10 herb combination. This was formulated by Dr. Paul Goss, who is an herbalist out of Compton, California. And he put this product together several years ago. I've been carrying it pretty much since I've been open. And what it does, this combination scrapes the colon wall and removes all the toxins out of it. And so once you cleanse the colon, the thinking is that you then cleanse the the blood supply to the kidney, liver, and spleen. So this stuff here is no joke. I've taken it for years. It takes about 15 hours to work, and so you don't have to worry about getting caught slipping, during work. It takes a minute to, go in there and thoroughly scrape the colon wall and all of that. So this stuff right here, I tell people, if you swallowed a penny or a nail later as a kid and never came out, it's coming out now, because this stuff here is pretty serious. You're going to get a thorough scraping, and it's going to remove the mucus from your intestinal lining, pretty much mucus from everywhere in the body. So this is pretty thorough cleanse right here, especially since we have Thanksgiving coming up, and I know you all are going to be bad. So this is what you'll want to try after Thanksgiving. Many of you come in and you tell me that, hey, Dr. Pruitt, I've got some inflammation going on, and I want to know what I can do about it. My hands hurt, my joints hurt, and, I've got arthritis, and nothing seems to work. So that is why we have turmeric. So turmeric is a spice This product has black pepper in it to help you absorb it better and give you a better result. But turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory, so I recommend 2 of these capsules daily. I take it before I work out, and sometimes I take it before I go to bed, because sometimes my back hurts after I've laid the wrong way, so this kind of keeps me from hurting overnight while I'm sleeping. But it looks like we're up on a break. You all stay right there. We'll be right back to finish up with some of these supplements.